According to all known laws of aviation, there is no way that a bee should be able to fly. Its wings are too small to get its fat little body off the ground. The bee, of course, flies anyways, because bees don't care what humans think is impossible. You've probably heard this line before from the 2007 DreamWorks movie, The Bee Movie, one of my favorites. This movie, while a comical masterpiece, brought light to the important issue surrounding the existence of bees. Today, we will dive into the bee issue, including factors affecting bee population, why they are so valuable, and what measures we can take to save our beloved friends. We first have to start with the problem itself, the growing factors affecting bees. There are many factors affecting bees currently, but the ones that humans are directly correlated to is the use of insecticides on large-scale agricultural production fields. Countless research and studies have found multiple traces of the deadly residue on these tiny creatures. Brule and Associates expressed their concerns in a 2019 article published by the Society of Environmental Toxicology and Chemistry. Brood and adult bee samples from North American honeybees colonies contain 46 pesticides of different pesticide classes and their metabolites. A French study found residues of 19 compounds in honeybee colony samples. See, the thing that most people don't understand is that honeybees live off of cover crops, plants such as clover and alfalfa, and even more so, ground weeds. These plants are heavily sprayed with herbicides and insecticides, making bees naturally sick. The damage these insecticides have on bees varies depending on their chemical makeup. Most think it is a straight death for them, but more likely than not, they are likely to leave long-lasting effects, causing bees to suffer. In fact, a 2019 study was published on Science Direct by Chakrabarty, focusing on the effects of a neonicotinoid on the visual effects of honeybees. The study tracked thousands of bees and concluded pesticide-treated bees are often found to have a higher proportion of incorrect visual choices, thereby further asserting the concern that pesticides indeed affect the learning abilities in pollinators. These bees' ability to tell apart UV color is significantly impaired. Sight is detrimental to bees and the way that they pollinate, and without their sight, they cannot tell the difference in flowers and their surroundings. Knowing the factors affecting bees, it becomes necessary to understand why we even need them in the first place. What makes bees crucial? Since the decline in bee population, fruit producers have been on their toes trying to keep their crops alive with the little amount of bee resources we have left. A textbook in the University of Minnesota describing Evans and Spivak's 2006 study about a 3-year-long observance of bees and their direct correlation in pollination of cranberry fields. In 2000, no honeybees were observed foraging on the beds, and the average individual cranberry weight was reduced by approximately half, compared with when honeybee colonies were present. This could potentially lead to a significant reduction in the number of bushels produced by the cranberry grower. Millions of dollars would be lost in the agricultural economy if bees were to disappear for good. They have been the long-running way of how our precious plants get pollinated. In fact, Greenleaf and Kremen explained in their 2006 article, published by the Proceedings of the National Academy of Science. Since the 1970s, the number of managed honeybee colonies in the U.S. decreased from less than 4 million to 2.41 million. Declines were also reported in Europe. Several documented examples show that reductions in bee abundance can cause reduced crop yields. This reduced crop yield has caused some farmers to look to mechanical and manual ways to pollinate their crops. Marla Spivak mentions in her 2013 TED Talk the practice of handheld pollination, people literally moving pollen flower to flower with a paintbrush. The tomato industry is most commonly known for this, as they often use handheld devices called vibrators to stimulate their tomato plants the same exact way a bumblebee would. Farmers wouldn't have to go through all this trouble and pay for such labor-intensive work if bees were available to pollinate. The problem becomes clear at this point, that without Without bees, our future farm economy could be on the brinks. Now you might be asking yourself, how do we fix this mess? Researchers and agriculturalists have been experimenting on ways to repopulate these pollinators. An effective method seems to be what is known as homogenized drone semen insemination. Carrick and Associates explain in a 1989 article titled Use of Homogenized Drone Semen in a Bee Breeding Program in Western Australia. Over 4 years, brood viability ranged from 88% to 94%, and colonies built up very quickly. Honey production averaged 115 kilograms per hive in 1986 and 109 kilograms in 1987. Essentially, the process involved mixing healthy worker drone semen and artificially inseminating a hive queen. The result? A longer living queen and more eggs produced per ovulation. This obviously benefits the hive as a whole and will slowly start to rebuild the bee population once put to use on a larger scale. As you can see, bees are extremely important to our daily lives. Hopefully, I brought to your attention the importance of bees, why they are declining, and ways to repopulate our pollinators. As you can see, this is an issue we need to address and resolve in order to rebalance the way we have been pollinating for thousands of years. I think we can all benefit if we all start thinking bee.